Picture this, my friend, right now in this very moment. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into the abyss of your life's struggles, your heart heavy with the weight of unspoken pain. What if I told you that this moment, this breath, this heartbeat could be the spark that ignites a transformation so profound it rewrites your entire story, not tomorrow, not next year, but right here, right now, today? I know life's been heavy, hasn't it? Maybe it's the sting of betrayal that still burns. Like a fresh wound, a knife twisted in your back by someone you trusted. Maybe it's the dream you buried under a mountain of doubt, convinced it was too big, too far, too impossible. Or maybe it's the nights you've lain awake, tears soaking your pillow, your soul whispering, "Am I enough? Will I ever break free from this pain?" What's your name, my friend? Where are you right now? Are you sitting in a dimly lit room, heart racing, scrolling through your phone, desperate for a sign that there's more to life than this? Are you driving down a lonely road, radio silent, replaying the moment everything fell apart, a job lost, a love broken, a promise that crumbled to dust? Or are you standing in a crowded room, surrounded by people, yet feeling invisible, carrying a pain so deep no one sees it, but God sees you right there in the heart of your storm? He's calling you, his voice thundering through the chaos, saying, "My child, I didn't create you to be bound by these chains. You were made to rise, to shine, to soar with my purpose, with a fire no darkness can quench." Psalm chapter 34, verse 18, proclaims the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I'm about to share 3 simple rules, not just ideas, not just words, but divine truths forged in the fire of my own failures, triumphs, and God's unending grace. These rules didn't just change how I think. They tore down the walls around my soul, rebuilt my relationships, and set me on a path to live boldly for Him. They can do the same for you starting today if you're ready to answer His call with courage. But let me ask you, what's one rule you've been living by, maybe without even realizing it, that shaped your world? Your choices, your heart, your path? Drop it in the comments below. Your story matters to me, to this community, to God Himself. Transformation begins when you dig deep, when you face the principles guiding your life, whether they're lifting you toward His light or chaining you to your wounds. What's holding you back today? Is it fear clawing at your courage? Shame whispering you're not worthy, the weight of a past you can't outrun dragging you down? God's calling you to lay it all at His feet, to let Him break those chains and set you free. So as we dive into these rules, ask yourself, are your rules building you up, aligning you with His purpose, or are they keeping you stuck in the shadows of your pain? Let's walk this holy path together. Let God heal us. Let's rise into the life He's destined for us, and let's spark a fire that burns bright for Him. Have you ever wondered what it takes to truly transform your life, not just to scrape by dragging through each day like it's a sentence to endure, but to thrive, to feel alive, to build relationships that are deep, real, and touched by the eternal, unshakable love of God? Today, I'm giving you 3 rules. That didn't just shift my perspective, they rewrote my entire story, from the ashes of my mistakes to the glory of God's purpose. These aren't just philosophies, catchy slogans, or self-help buzzwords. They're truths carved out of the raw material of my life, my stumbles, my victories, my moments of crying out to God in the dark, begging for strength to keep going, to be better, to be His. I believe with every ounce of my being that these rules can transform you too, can lift you out of the pit, heal your broken places, and set you on a path to shine with His light. Before we go deeper, let me ask again, what's one rule you live by that's shaped how you see the world? Share it in the comments. Your voice matters, and God's listening through every word you speak, every story you share, every truth you uncover. Transformation starts when we dig into the principles we hold, whether we chose them or they were forced upon us by life's blows, by loss, by failure, by pain. So as I lay out these 3 rules, I challenge you to examine your own. What rules are you living by on purpose or by accident? Are they pushing you toward God's light, lifting you closer to His plan, or are they keeping you tethered to the pain you're ready to release? Let's dive in, let God's truth guide us, and let's find healing together in His presence. Love isn't what you say, it's what you do. Too often we toss the word love around like it's a magic wand, thinking saying it is enough to hold relationships together, to mend hearts, to build bridges across the chasms of pain. But hear me now, my friend, love without action is an empty promise, a hollow sound that fades in the wind, far from the love God calls us to embody in this broken world. You can tell someone you love them 1,000 times, but if your actions don't back it up, those words are just noise, not the substance he intended. Love isn't just a warm feeling that sparks in your chest. It's a commitment, a choice to show up when the world feels like it's crumbling, to give when it costs you something real. Your time, your energy, your pride, to stand firm when every instinct screams to run. It's in the small, quiet moments, the kind word when someone's hurting, the time you carve out when you're exhausted, the sacrifice you make when no one's watching. God's love flows through the details, not just the big, flashy moments. Love isn't about grand gestures alone. It's about the daily grind, checking in on someone when they're struggling, remembering the little things that matter to them, showing patience when walking away would be easier, when anger feels justified, when the world tempts you to turn away. Real love, the kind God calls us to, is tough, resilient, unbreakable. It doesn't fade when life gets hard. It grows stronger, deeper rooted in action, not fleeting emotion. Love demands consistency, not perfection, and every small act of love you pour out stacks up to something eternal, something God sees, honors, and multiplies in ways you can't even imagine. Let me take you back to a moment that broke me open, a wound that still aches when I think about it, but one that God used to teach me the true weight of love. Years ago, I had a friend, let's call him Marcus, who was like a brother to me. We grew up together, shared dreams, laughed through the good times, and swore we'd always have each other's backs. Marcus was the kind of guy who'd light up a room, but when he hit a dark season, that light dimmed. He lost his job, his confidence, his spark. Depression wrapped around him like a shadow, pulling him into a place I didn't fully understand. I was too caught up in my own world, chasing my career, my goals, my own battles, to see the depth of his pain. I'd call him and say, "I love you, man," thinking those words were enough to keep him afloat. But I wasn't there, not in the way he needed. I didn't show up, didn't sit with him in his pain, didn't ask the hard questions that might have saved him. One night he called me, voice trembling, barely holding it together, and I brushed it off, promising to check in later. I told myself I was busy, that I'd make time soon. But soon never came. Marcus took his life, and that loss hit me like a freight train, shattering my world. I stood at his grave, tears falling, my heart screaming with guilt, asking God why I didn't do more, why I let words stand in place of action. The pain was crushing like a weight I couldn't lift, a wound that wouldn't heal. I carried that guilt for years, wondering if I could have changed things, if I'd shown up, if I'd loved him the way God loves us. But in that darkness, God spoke to my heart, "My child, love is what you do, not what you say. I've given you this pain to teach you to love deeper, to reflect my love." That moment broke me, but it also rebuilt me. I vowed to never let love stay silent again. Now I show up, calling, listening, being there, holding space for the people I love, because I know the cost of empty words, the price of missed chances to show God's love. Maybe you felt that pain too, loving someone but failing to show it, or being the one who needed love and got only words. Maybe you've lost someone, or you're carrying the guilt of not being there when it mattered most, the weight of what if pressing on your soul. Maybe you're there now, wondering if anyone sees you, if anyone cares, if your pain is invisible to the world. That hurt runs deep, doesn't it? It leaves you feeling like you're shouting into a void, like your heart doesn't matter, like you're alone in your struggle. But hear this: God sees you. His love never fails, never falters, never leaves you alone. He's calling you to reflect that love through action, to be his hands and feet, to show the world what love looks like when it's real, when it's alive, when it's his. 1 John chapter 3 verse 18 states, "Let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." Your love can heal, can rebuild, can show someone they're seen in a world that often looks away. Your love backed by action can be a beacon of God's grace, a light in someone's darkness, a bridge across their pain. When was the last time you showed someone you loved them, not with words, but with actions that hit their soul like a ray of God's light? Maybe it was cooking a meal for someone too tired to cook, sitting with a friend who needed to pour out their heart, or just being there steady and present when their world was falling apart. What's that moment for you? My friend, where are you right now, and who needs your love today? Who's God calling you to reach out to a parent, a friend, a stranger who's hurting someone you've overlooked? Love doesn't ask for perfection, but it begs for presence, for intention, for the courage to show up. Even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you, even when it means stepping out of your comfort zone. God's calling you to put in the work, to let your love be a reflection of His active, alive, unshakable. The truth is, love without action is a missed chance to connect, to grow, to make someone feel seen in a world that often looks away. The people in your life don't just need your words, they need your consistency, your presence, your love shown in how you treat them, how you prioritize them, even when it's hard, even when it costs you. Love that's just talk becomes a broken promise, slowly chipping away at trust, at connection, at the divine bond God created for us. But love in action, it's a bridge to healing, a mirror of God's grace, a force that builds something holy, something eternal. It strengthens your relationships, yes, but it also fills your own soul in ways words could never touch. It's the bridge between what you intend and the impact you make and every step you take to show it, build something God-breathed, something that echoes in eternity. So what's one way you can turn your love into action today? Who in your life needs to feel God's love through you? Drop it in the comments. Share how you're showing love. Tell us about a time love healed you or someone else, a moment when action made all the difference. Let's inspire each other to love like God does, to be His light in a world that needs it. Let His Spirit guide your hands, your heart, your steps, and watch how it transforms you both. Trust is fragile, my friend, like a glass sculpture. It takes years to craft, seconds to shatter, and sometimes a lifetime to piece back together with God's grace. And here's the raw, unfiltered truth. Trust isn't built on what you promise. It's built on what you prove day after day, moment after moment, through actions that stand firm in His truth, that reflect His faithfulness. We live in a world where words are cheap, where people toss out promises like confetti, thinking that's enough to hold relationships together, to keep hearts intact. But trust, it's not about what someone says they'll do. It's about what they actually do when the pressure's on, when no one's watching, when it's easier to walk away. Actions cut through doubt like a sword, leaving no room for questions, no space for hesitation. When someone proves they're reliable, that they'll stand by you even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs them, trust takes root deep in your soul like a tree planted by God's river, unshaken by the storms of life. But trust isn't something you throw around lightly, nor do you take it for granted. It's a sacred gift, a bond that demands effort, intention, and God's grace to sustain. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent, showing up with integrity, letting your life reflect God's faithfulness, letting your actions be a testament to His truth. Without proof, trust is just a wish, a fragile hope that crumbles when the storm hits, leaving you exposed and broken. Let me share a story that still cuts deep, a wound that taught me the true cost of trust and the power of God's healing. Early in my career, I had a mentor. Let's call him John, who was like a father to me. He was a giant in the industry, a man whose words carried weight, whose promises felt like gold. He'd say, "Denzel, I've got your back," and I hung on to those words like a lifeline, believing he'd guide me through the chaos of chasing my dreams. I trusted him to show me the ropes, to be there when I needed wisdom, to lift me up when I stumbled. But when I hit a crisis, a major role slipped through my fingers and I was drowning in self-doubt, questioning if I was even cut out for this path. He was nowhere to be found. I called, I waited, I hoped, but his silence was louder than any promise he'd made. I remember sitting in my car outside the studio, head in my hands, heart heavy, feeling like the ground had been pulled out from under me. That betrayal hit like a punch to the gut, left me questioning who I could rely on, made me wonder if trust was even worth building. I built walls around my heart, afraid to let anyone in again. Maybe you know that pain. Someone you trusted let you down, their promises emptied, their absence a wound that wouldn't heal. Maybe it was a friend who vanished when you needed them most, a partner who broke their vows, a parent who wasn't there when you were falling apart. That pain shakes you to your core, builds walls around your heart, makes you question if anyone can be trusted, if anyone will stay. But God met me in that brokenness, whispering, "My child, I am the one who never fails. Trust in me and let your actions build trust with others." That moment taught me trust is earned, not given, and it's proven through actions, not words. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 confirms trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. God's calling you to be a vessel of trust, to heal the wounds of broken promises with your consistency, to show the world what His faithfulness looks like through your life. Who do you trust in your life? What's their name? Why do they have your trust? Take a moment. Where are you right now? And who comes to mind? Are you at home thinking of a friend who's always been there, a rock in your storm? Or are you somewhere else, remembering someone who let you down, whose absence still stings? The answers point to patterns of consistency, honesty, reliability, proof that they've got your back, that God's working through their actions. Trustworthy people don't just talk a good game. They deliver even when no one's watching, even when it costs them, even when it means sacrifice. And it goes both ways. If you want to be trusted, you've got to lead with action, to let your life be a testament to God's faithfulness. Show up, be accountable, honor what you say you'll do, even when it's hard, even when it means swallowing your pride, even when it means facing your own flaws. Broken trust cuts like a knife, slicing through the foundation of your relationships, leaving you raw and exposed, vulnerable in a way that terrifies. But rebuilding trust, it's not impossible. It's holy work guided by God's hand. It takes more than words. It takes action, patience, time, and a heart surrendered to Him. Are you ready to do that? Work trust when earned is a treasure, a cornerstone of any relationship blessed by God. It's not just a deal you make, it's a reflection of your character, who you are when the spotlight's off, when you're alone with God, when no one else is watching. Trust doesn't mean perfection. It means owning your mistakes, being honest when you fall short, taking responsibility, and letting God's grace shine through your accountability. That's how you strengthen your bonds, how you build integrity in His eyes, how you become a beacon of His truth. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that proves you can be trusted, or are you leaning on words hoping they'll carry the weight? What's one step you can take today to prove your trust to someone who matters, a friend, a family member, a colleague? Share it in the comments. Tell us about a time trust was broken and how you rebuilt it, or how someone's consistency healed you, restored your faith. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's build trust together in God's name, and let's show the world what His faithfulness looks like. We've all heard it, I'm sorry. Two words that are supposed to mend what's broken, heal what's hurt, make things right in a world full of wrongs. But let me hit you with a hard truth, my friend. An apology without change is manipulation, a lie dressed up to dodge guilt, not honor God. A true apology isn't about words. It's about transformation, about turning to God and saying, Lord, make me better, make me new, mold me into your image. It's owning the pain you've caused, looking it in the face, feeling its weight, letting it humble you to your knees, letting it break your pride, and taking real deliberate steps to ensure it doesn't happen again. A true apology is where accountability begins, not where it ends. It's a promise to yourself, to others, to God, that you value relationships over your ego, that you're willing to let His Spirit reshape you from the inside out to make you a vessel of His love. Too often we let sorry slip out like it's nothing, like it's enough to smooth things over, to move on without facing the mess we've made. But a real apology, it takes courage, the kind that stares your failures in the eye, that kneels before God and asks for strength to change, to grow, to be better. Without that honesty, those two words are empty, a betrayal of trust that cuts deeper than the original wound, leaving scars that linger, that fester, that tear at the heart. Let me tell you about a time I learned this the hard way, a moment that still stings when I think about it, but one that God used to teach me the power of change. Early in my career, I was driven, ambitious, hungry for success, but sometimes that fire burned too hot, and I hurt the people closest to me without even realizing it. My sister, my rock, my confidants, the one who always believed in me, bore the brunt of it. I'd get stressed, caught up in my own world, chasing deadlines and dreams, and I'd snap at her words flying out sharper than I meant, cutting her down when she didn't deserve it. I'd say sorry right after, thinking it would fix everything, erase the hurt, make it all okay. But I kept doing it, letting stress take the wheel, letting my impatience wound her again and again, letting my ego blind me to the pain I was causing. Each sorry felt cheaper, and I saw the distance growing in her eyes, the trust fading, the pain piling up like bricks between us. I remember one night after another argument, seeing her walk away, shoulders slumped, eyes glistening with tears I'd caused. It hit me like a ton of bricks. My words were meaningless if my actions didn't change. I was breaking her heart, and my sorry was just a band-aid on a wound that needed healing. I took it to God, praying, Lord, I failed her. I've hurt someone I love. Help me change. Help me be better. Help me reflect your love. He showed me that apologies without action are just noise, that real change is the only way to heal what's broken, to restore what's lost. I had to work on myself, control my temper, listen more, put her heart first, pray for patience every day. It wasn't easy. It took time, humility, and a lot of prayer. But over time, my actions rebuilt what my words had broken. She forgave me, and our bond grew stronger than ever, a testament to God's grace, a reminder that change is possible when we surrender to Him. Maybe you've been there saying sorry, but not changing, or receiving an apology that never healed, that left you doubting, hurting, alone. Maybe you're carrying the weight of hurting someone you love, the guilt of knowing your actions didn't match your words. Or maybe you're the one who's been wounded, waiting for someone's sorry to mean something, to come with change that heals. That pain lingers, doesn't it? The doubt, the fear that words are just words, the ache of trust, broken, the sting of feeling unseen. Maybe you're there now, wondering if anyone will ever make it right, if you're worth the effort. But God steps into that brokenness, saying, my child, I can make you new. Let your change be my testimony. Let your actions reflect my healing. James chapter 5, verse 16 declares, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. Your apology backed by change can be a vessel for His healing, a bridge to restoration, a light in someone's darkness, a reflection of His love that rebuilds what's been broken. When you say sorry, you're not just asking for forgiveness, you're vowing to grow, to let God's grace transform you from the inside out, to become a reflection of His love, His mercy, His truth. But how often do we fall into the trap of apologizing out of habit, tossing out sorry like it's a quick fix, a band-aid on a wound that needs surgery? I've done it, said the words, to ease the tension, to move on without doing the hard work of looking at myself, of asking God to change my heart, to root out the flaws that cause the pain. That kind of sorry does more harm than good. It erodes trust, plants seeds of doubt, leaves people wondering if you ever meant it, if you ever cared. Empty apologies are like whispers in a storm, gone, forgotten, meaningless. True accountability, the kind God calls us to, rebuilds what's broken, restores what's lost, reflects His love in a world that's starving for it. Changing your behavior is harder than saying sorry, but it's the only thing that matters, the only thing that separates a genuine apology from a cheap excuse. Think about the times you've been on the receiving end of a hollow sorry. It stings, doesn't it? Like a slap to your soul, a reminder that words alone can't heal, that they can't undo the pain, that they can't rebuild what's been shattered. We crave sincerity, proof that someone gets the weight of their actions, that they're willing to make it right, to walk a different path, to let God guide them. Without change, an apology is just a lie wrapped in goodwill, frustrating, disheartening, even destructive. But when someone shows they've changed, when their actions align with God's truth, it's like His light breaking through the clouds, warming a heart that's been cold too long. It restores trust, sparks. Hope reminds us that people can grow, that relationships can heal through His grace. True change is a gift. It rebuilds, bridges men's hearts, reflects God's love in a world desperate for it. True apologies show up in the work you put in to rebuild trust, in the patience you show as you prove you're different, in the humility you carry as you walk with God. Real change demands consistency, discipline, a heart surrendered to Him, choosing to be better every day, even when it's tough, even when it's inconvenient, even when it means facing parts of yourself you'd rather hide. It's knowing your actions speak louder than any words, that they carry the weight of your integrity, the depth of your faith, the power of your commitment to God's call. When you back your sorry with real change, you earn something sacred, respect, not just from others, but from yourself, from God. Growth is hard, holy work, but it's the only path to becoming who He created you to be. Sorry without change is just a performance, a way to dodge guilt without owning it, a way to stay comfortable instead of stepping into God's call to transform. But a real apology, that's power. It's a bridge to healing, a foundation for growth, a chance to rebuild what's been broken. It shows courage, empathy, a willingness to face what you've done and let God guide you to better. A sincere apology paves the way for deeper connections, stronger bonds, a life aligned with his purpose. It turns mistakes into stepping stones, failures into lessons, pain into purpose. So next time you say sorry, ask yourself, what am I doing to make sure this doesn't happen again? How am I showing up differently to honor the trust I've broken? Who's waiting for your change right now? A family member, a friend, someone you've hurt, share that story in the comments. What's a time you had to change to make a sorry real, or when someone's change healed, you restored your faith, brought you closer to God. Let's lift each other up with these stories, showing the world how God's grace transforms, how his love rebuilds, how his truth heals. These 3 rules: love needs action, trust needs proof, sorry needs change, aren't just ideas. They're God's guiding lights, burning bright in a world that's often dark, demanding accountability, inspiring growth, calling you to live with integrity that reflects his heart, his love, his purpose. They challenge you to value your relationships, to prioritize what matters, to walk boldly in his truth, to be a beacon of his love in a world that's hurting. Words without action lose their power, but your actions, they define you in God's eyes. They shape your legacy. They build a life that shines with his glory, that echoes in eternity. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about progress, about showing up with intention, proving yourself through what you do, changing when you fall short, and trusting God to guide every step, every choice, every moment. These rules have reshaped my life, how I love, how I handle conflict, how I rise every day. They've taught me that love is a verb moving through every choice you make, that trust is built brick by brick with God's strength holding it together, that real apologies are backed by transformation, not excuses, guided by his grace. I've walked through my own storms, betrayals that cut deep, failures that left me questioning myself, moments I didn't think I'd survive. I've stood at the edge of despair, wondering if I could keep going, if I was enough. But God used these rules to pull me through, to show me that pain isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater, a testimony to his power, a call to rise and shine for him. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18 confirms we are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory. So I challenge you, my friend, with every ounce of fire in my soul, how will you live these rules? Will your love break through words and become action that reflects God's heart, touching the lives of those around you, healing their wounds, showing them they're seen? Will your trust be earned through proof, not empty promises, building bonds that stand firm in his truth, strong enough to weather any storm, to shine as a testament to his faithfulness when you say sorry? Will you let God's grace change you, turning your mistakes into stepping stones for his purpose, transforming your pain into a testimony that glorifies him? Transformation doesn't happen by chance. It's a choice, a daily, moment by moment decision to step toward the life God's calling you to let his love guide your actions, to let his truth shape your heart. The quality of your life mirrors the quality of your relationships, and your relationships depend on how you live these principles, how you embody his love. What's holding you back? Fear whispering you're not enough, doubt telling you it's too late, the weight of yesterday's mistakes dragging you down like chains. Lay them at God's feet and start today, right now, in this moment. Live these rules and watch him transform your life, your heart, your world. True change is hard, but it's holy. It's your path to his purpose, your chance to rise from the ashes of your pain, to soar with his strength, to shine brighter than you ever dreamed. If this hit your soul, if it stirred something deep within you, drop a 100 in the comments and tell me what's one action you're committing to today to live these rules. Who's God calling you to love with action, to trust with proof, to change for with a sincere apology? Share your story. Tell us about a time these principles changed you, healed you, or helped you heal someone else. Tag someone who needs this message, who's walking through their own storm, who needs to know they're not alone, that God's got them. Let's build a community of warriors rising together, lifting each other up, walking in God's light, shining his love into every corner of this world. Subscribe, pray for someone, share this with the world, and take that first step today. Don't wait, don't hesitate, don't let another moment pass. Commit to one action right now. Call someone, show up, make it right. Let God work through you. Your life's about to shine brighter than you ever imagined, because God's not done with you yet. He's calling you to rise, to break those chains, to live these rules with every breath you take. So get up, my friend, stand tall, act now, and let His glory shine through you. The world's waiting for your light.